Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night. Where tonight on Top Split TV, we're bringing you. Well, apparently, it's round 20, but it really should be round 10. Let me just fix that up. There we go. Round 10 from Imola, where the best of the best, those running skips at the moment, have come out to play once again. I'm Alex McKellar, and joining me as always is the chaotic one himself, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, another big one ahead at what is a great track to race at.
Exactly, Alex. It's a little bit sad to see a lot of our bigger names not here again, because this is such a fantastic track for Skippy racing. And the strength of field is down a little bit as well. It's a 36.76 here tonight. That shouldn't take away from the action, which should absolutely be on fire tonight with the 20 people that we have lined up to race here this evening.
Yeah, full grid by the looks. So let's quickly run through it. Julian O'Fray currently sitting second in the championship overall. He's looking to get a good result. He's got one bad one that could see him rise up and take out top spot, depending on how he goes here tonight. Gold Kawabe, there's two-plated car here tonight. That tells you something. The Japanese driver. Three is Loris Amadio, raced and seen at Loris race this week. He's absolutely fast through the section he's just gone through there at Aqua Minerale and really quite aggressive. So expect to see some action around him. Leading ANZ driver Corey Lean back with us once again. Five plated cars. Nathan Wade from UK and I similarly likes to get busy here. Typically, from what I've seen, making his debut here tonight, Locked On iRacing's James Chastanerf. James looking to stamp his mark on the race tonight, as is George Maddock from UK and I. Takumi Yamato, the second of three Japanese drivers here tonight. Of course, podium getter last week. Tobias Ritt didn't have the race that he wanted in the warm-up race, but he's back to have another crack, as is ANZ's Vasco Sorovsky in the 10-plater car, Corey.
That's right, Alex. Coming up in the 11th plated car, we have Craig Biley, also from the AusNZ Club. Number four of about, I think that's 9 Aussies we've got in the field. From Iberia in the 12-plated car, we have Axel Valero. Apologies. Coming out of the 13th car, the final of our three Japanese contingents is going to be Hiroshi Ueda. We're going to have Dimitri Filipides from the 14th plated car. And then we have 5 Aussies in a row, starting with Braden Martin in the 15. We've got the 16 of Mitchell Nichols, the 17 of Christian Mansell, and the 18 of Paul Wilson, the 19 of Justin Watt, and last but not least, wrapping up the field, just sneaking into the field, mind you, Alex, the 20-plated car, Alex Herter from Iberia.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see nearly half a field of the local contingent, which is good to see. Julian O'Fray, of course, the highest rated driver here, just tick under 6K here tonight, and racing pretty well. So looking to see how well he goes here tonight in amongst it. Of course, ANZ hopes typically at the moment pinned on Corey Lean, but don't rule out James Chastanerf. Had some really good form this Aussie car season, and looking to parlay that into a good result in the big one here tonight. Similarly, Braden Martin, who's been driving very strong. His I rating's up nearly 1,000 in the last month or so. And he's just had some bad luck this season in Aussie car, looking to turn that around here tonight with a good result, Corey.
Well, hopefully he can. He has definitely been on the up and up, as you said, up at what is it, a 3.5K I rating these days, which is fantastic to see. You were having a quick little squizzy pick at his profile earlier and just seen the line shooting straight up there over the road graph, which is good to see. Corey Lane's about to come in to finish his first lap in the 4-plated car. And he's put in a 204.023 to be at the top of the standings at the moment, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Just behind him, James Chastanerf and Braden Martin, the two locked on boys, looking to go as far up the order as they can. Look at the ANZs. Oh, Kawabe-san. I was just about to say ANZ filling everywhere at the front of this field, but then the laps are starting to come in now. Frey leading the way now with a 2:03.7. I was going to say, I didn't think a 2:04 would hold even for the first lap. Looking for low, sort of mid to low 203s in these conditions here tonight. No, Frey's already set the benchmark as one of two to go under 204 for their first lap, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. And we expect nothing less from a Frey being the one-plated car here tonight. He should be the man who is absolutely on pace. But Guabe-san definitely also a very hot foot as far as qualifying is concerned. And he's only, at nearly 2/10 off of a Frey's time. But in the grand scheme of things, with how big this track is for these little skippies, that's almost nothing, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Not much in it. And certainly that sort of gap would see those two run nose to tail the whole race with the draft at this Grand Prix layout, which is, can I tell you, it's a lot of fun to drive. And surprisingly, we haven't seen the turnout here tonight that I would have expected given its popularity because it's been full grids all week. Corey Lee now still leading the ANZ contingent. He heads up the hill, down the hill now into the double left-handed two Ravazzas here at 17 and 18. Can't run as wide here. In fact, I tell you what, I don't reckon he'd be too far away from a 1x there and spoiling his lap. Loris Amadio just ahead of him on the time on the track at least, and he's chucked down his second of two flying laps. Quite handy around here is Amadio, and he's jumped up to P2. There you go. Corey Lean has now jumped up to the top of the timing sheets. Tobias Ritt making his presence known. Chastanov's done his 2 laps and unable to improve from 7th. We're really waiting for Julian O'Fray. He's going to come across the line now. What's the the Belgian driver got for us? A 2:03.2. There it is. Fantastic time indeed. Looking to secure pole there, Corey.
He very well could do it with that time, Alex. Absolutely fantastic, a 2:03.2. At the moment, it looks like his only competition there is Corey Lane, although we're waiting on Kawabe-san. I think he's still doing his second lap. He might be finished his lap. And unfortunately, that's going to be P6 for Kawabe at the moment, which is going to be very disappointing for the Japanese driver there, Alex.
Yeah, that's everyone running one that's going to set a lap by the looks. Just shooting through. Yeah, 30 seconds to spare. Not much tyre warming going on out there tonight because, of course, it is a Grand Prix track, Grand Prix length. Therefore, you don't get a lot of time to set a lap or set your 2 laps and not much time to warm the tyres. But O'Fray's done the job by the looks. Ritt still getting around, although he's on a cool-down lap, as is Ueda. I don't think we've seen Hiroshi Ueda in the top split before, and he's certainly making sure that he's getting his money's worth out there in the warm-up. All right, let's go check out our grid tonight. As we said, Julian O'Fray, second in the championship, first off the grid here tonight with a 2:03.2. Great time in quali. Corey Lean landing, ANZ driver, joins him on the front row of the grid, just over 2 tenths behind. George Maddock starts on the second row in third. The UK&I driver, Tobias Ritt, similarly starting in fourth. Loris Amadio, the only Italian, if I'm not mistaken, in this field. He's at his local track starting out at fifth. Guy Kawabe, leading Japanese driver, once again starting out at sixth. Fourth row of the grid sees Nathan Wade from UK&I and James Chastaneuf making his Sunday Night Lights debut starting in eighth. Mitchell Nichols, ANZ driver, starting in ninth, joined on the fifth row by the other Locked On iRacing driver of Braden Martin. 11th, ANZ drivers Vasco Sorofsky, who's starting to become somewhat of a regular here on a Sunday night. He's joined by Takumi Yamato, starting in 12th. Started and finished on the front row last week. Certainly not where we expected to see him this week. Hiroshi Ueda, the third of the Japanese drivers, out of 13th. Axel Valero, the Iberian, out of 14th. Dimitri Philippidis joins us once again, starting 15th. Paul Wilson, the ANZ driver, out of 16th. Justin Watt, another ANZ driver, out of 17th. Alex Hurte, the second Iberian driver, out of 18th. Craig Biley and Christian Mansell, 19th and 20th respectively, round out your field, Corey.
It should be a very exciting 12 laps here, Alex, with these 20 competitors. It's going to be quite the traffic jam going into the Tamburello chicane to start things off. As we're getting ready to go green, everyone's on the grid. Red lights mean rev. The green lights may go. We are underway here for round number 10 at season 24 at Imola. And already Julian Alfrey, big time into the lead. Rory Lane cuts straight across the track in front of Maddock to take over the second position as we're going 2 and some places 3 wide, coming down to the braking zone for Tampa Mello.
Oi!
There's all around. That's Laureus Amadio, Alex.
Mario out before it's over. Race over before it's begun. Chastaneuf benefiting from that. Braden Martin up one as well. Vasco Sorowski, the big one, to gain out of that. We might go take a look at that incident later as we see the front of the field come down to Tosa. Come into Villeneuve for the first time round. Oh, I'm on board with Sorowski. That'll be a slowdown. There's a new slowdown on the exit there with the revised track limits. The front three getting away with it at the moment. We know Frey, Lean and Maddox. Chastaneuf now leading a long trailing pack that even at this early stage almost stays out of it. Chastaneuf are 4 spots, if you don't mind, in the early stages. Kawabe-san just sitting behind him up the single position, as is most of the people behind, with Valero the only one up more than Chastaneuf with 5 so far, Corey.
That's right, Alex. And I'm just seeing Savoski falling down the order here. He was just starting to serve his slowdown coming into the Aqua Minerale all the way down to 18th. He's lost 7 positions from where he started at the moment, Alex.
That doesn't tickle. That hurts a lot, actually. It's very easy to pick it up there on the exit of Villeneuve as the leaders come down to the final pair of Ravazza corners here. O'Fray leading from Lean with Maddock in the background. These 3 will put on a race. If they'll likely... Well, if I was them, I'd be settling down and settling in to run away with it. Meanwhile, Chastaneuf's got his hands full with Kawabe and Wade looking to mix it up and move forward in this pack, Corey.
He can only hope that he can, Alex, as that second pack is definitely going to be full of action here, especially with Nathan Wade now trying to take the point of it. We've got a 4-way battle here. Oh, there's contact. And I think there's Nichols, Kawabe-san, and Mansell. Oh no, Mansell got through it.
Yeah, let me go see if I can find a replay of that one. That was messy. There's so many things here. Let me check this one. See if just a little bit back before that. I think we might grab it. Oh, it looks like Chastaneuf's come across. And he's hit the 16, and that's hit Kawabe-san. The 16 car of Mitchell Nichols. There's 2 of the leading ANZ drivers, Gornsky and one go. Looked like Chastaneuf might not have known he was 3 wide there. Looked to move across just a little bit. And unfortunately, that was all she wrote. Meanwhile, back up in front, we've got Lean from O'Fray and Maddock. That second pack looking a little less full, with Wade, Valero and Martin up 4 positions. Axel Valero, if you don't mind, up 9 positions. Just getting overtaken there. Maybe picked up slowdown or just racing smart there into that final chicane with Martin going through. He was up 9 positions, now up 8, and Martin's up 5. They're going all right.
Indeed they are, Alex, and it's good to see. Also down at the back of the field, I'm just having a look at my standings here, and Mansell was up 6 positions for a second, but then he just magically dropped down to the back of the field there. So never mind that one. But it's good to see Martin and Valero being so far up here in the pack in 7th and 8th at the moment. And they'll be absolutely charging to, well, actually, sorry, my apologies, 5th and 6th. People in the pit stuffed up my standings there a little bit. But it's good to see them so far up the front and trying to battle for a good result here. It's excellent to see them battling this early, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to half work together, I suggest, to get ahead. See if they can't catch Nathan Wade just ahead of them, who is dropping off that front pack, or he's got away from the second pack, I should say, looking to drive away. I don't know that he'll bridge the gap, although he set the fastest lap last lap. He was about a tenth quicker than the front 3. who couldn't seem to work out the draft. So Nathan Wade in with a chance there of catching the front group. He is 2.5 seconds behind, so it might take a little while to do so, and he may not have enough time. But certainly, if the front three get a bit busy, so to speak, then he's in with a shot as Julian Frey comes through. Piratella for the early stages of lap 3, down the hill into one of the most challenging corners you'll find at Aqua Minerale. Good fun when you get it right. All comes a cropper when you don't. Chucks it into second gear. Watch the slowdown on exit. Don't grab too much of the AstroTurf as they now head up the hill into the final chicane at Variante Alta. You can grab so much curb here. You watch these skippies fly time after time. Look at them just bouncing around in the background. Set up your suspension right this week and you walk away without damage. Not, you can often not walk away, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. We saw in the warm-up race someone who actually took too much of that second curb, and I guess their suspension setting just wasn't quite up to snuff as where it should be, and they got a bad bounce on landing and went sideways in front of the field. These three at front definitely look like they've got their cars set up just right as Matic. Looking like he's trying to look for a way around Lean at the moment. He doesn't want to be sitting there in the bubble on third. He wants to try and get second. Way he can make a charge after a fray. He's looking to the left now of Corey Lean. They come across the start finish straight this time. That's going to be 3 laps down and 9 to go. And Matic, oh, I thought he was going to go for the move on a fray that time coming into Tamburello, but the smarter head prevailed there and he dropped into the second place there, Alex.
Yeah, Lee not quite getting the run out of the second Ravazza there. Left himself vulnerable to the attack from Matic, who took the opportunity and is now putting all sorts of pressure on the back of O'Fray as we see Wade now running that lonely race. Didn't get the fastest time that time round and not likely, he's racing his own race. Oh, Martin, that's so close. The new track limits there, that's very close to a slowdown if it wasn't. And he's got Valero and Yamato all over him. Yamato is up 5 positions. Valero's up 8. Martin's up 5. With all that carnage early on, a lot of people looking to take advantage, Corey.
And hopefully they can, Alex, because at the moment we've got a couple of pockets of excitement starting to form here. Just having a look at my mini-map, and everyone is kind of in their own little group now. Everyone's just trying to figure out where they're all running at the moment. As Matic all over the back of a fray coming out of Aqua Minerale, and he was almost going to look like making the move there coming into the Variante Alta, and not going to do it that time. They ride the curbs nicely. We might see a move on here going into the Ravazza, but I doubt that, Alex. Might see a move coming along the pit straight maybe from Matic this time.
Yeah, definitely. That's where you want to get it done. There's no need to run crazy lines through here. These three are away and off to the races, so to speak. Lean, once again, he's just not quite getting the run through the final 2 corners. You can see the gap between he and Matic in front of him. Now, the draft will keep him in touch, but that's no good when you want to attack in the final stages. He's going to, if that's the case and these two have got the wood on him in the final sector, he'll want to be right up there making moves in this first sector on that final lap because he'll want to lead and defend rather than having to attack if he doesn't quite got the pace in that final couple of corners there, Corey.
And that's exactly right, Alex. It's all about finding out where your strengths are and setting up your lap to those advantages as you go along. As a fray all over the back of Matic at the moment. I don't think he's going to be making a move here until Villeneuve. And Villeneuve is actually a very difficult place to go side by side, and cooler heads prevail there. They stay single file as they come down to Tosa now. Looking back at Nathan Wade, he is running a very lonely race here in 4th place, Alex, but he's still kind of keeping up with the pace. His fast lap is only half a second slower than O'Fray, who has the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely. That secondary pack now with Martin, Valero and Yamato. Certainly an international flavour to it, but diplomatic immunity does not apply. These guys racing super hard to get the win as they come through, or the best position they can, this time through Piratella on the run down to Aqua Minerale. On lap 5 of 12 here tonight, the right hand kink down into the second gear right hander. Don't clip too much to the curb, don't get sprayed out. Oh, Yamato dancing dicing with the slowdown on the exit of Aqua Minerale this time round as they come into that final chicane here at Variante Alta. bounce it off the curbs, take as much as you dare. Don't run too wide. That's about as wide as you want to go because there's another slowdown waiting for you on the exit there, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex, and that's one of the slowdowns that usually catches me out around this track as I go too fast through Varianta Alta like that. As they're coming down into the final couple of corners here, the Ravazza 1 and 2, and it looks like Martin getting a very nice exit through there, just clipping the gravel trap ever so slightly, but just not enough to upset the Skippy. Valero now looking like he's going to make the move going into the turn 1 here, which is quite all right by Martin, although Martin's still holding on to that very inside line. Alex is looking like he doesn't want to give it up too easy, but he's going to relent and fall back into second in line here as they come into Tamburello chicane. And we saw Martin actually have a little bit of issue there in the warm-up race, which was a little bit comical to see, Alex.
Yeah, that's it. But he's got it nailed this time round, as we see back up front. O'Fray leading Maddock and Lean still. Didn't see Lean's run that time round, but again, he's just sitting just over half a second. Oh, he's closed up there. As Maddox run very wide, that'll bring Lean right back into it. Lean now looking to get in between the two European drivers this time round. Lean's going to come up over the hill into Piratella and get the job done. Uncharacteristic mistake there from Maddock, costing him the position, and Lean now looking to stick in that draft. Oh, he's only 3/10 off it, so, I beg your pardon, 6/10 off it. It's 3/10 behind a Maddock, so they've got a bit of work to do to get back in touch, and O'Fray looking to get away with it if he can. Now, I'm jumping back to Vasco Sorowski. He's leading, he's sitting there in P8. He's got a string of skippies behind him. Look at them all. There's half a dozen or more, including Gol Kawabe, who got a podium last week as well, the Japanese driver. This week, down 4 positions after that early incident, but managed to get away with a clean car by the looks. Has not been through the pits, so got away undamaged, and he's on the fight back. But he's got a long line of cars in and around him, Corey.
It's going to be very difficult for Kawabe-san to make up positions from here, especially with just how tenacious these guys are going to be battling in this mid-pack. I mean, these guys are battling over 8th, and every point counts in the overall championship as well as the SNL championship. So, Kawabe-san definitely has his work cut out for him here, though he'll probably get Justin Watt at some point, but Savoski, he's become quite the regular competitor here in Top Split, and he's been showing his worth, Alex, and he's been getting faster and faster every week.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are threatening to go 3 wide. Judged by the livery, I'm going to say that Watt and Sorowski are probably teammates, looking at it from here, with Kawabe now splitting them, with Philippides now trailing in that 4th slot in that pack, and Ueda, the third Japanese driver, tucked in there as well. Yamato now, if I jump to the other Japanese driver, he's well and truly entrenched in that battle with Martin and Valero. And then if we go up past Nathan Wade, who's still running that lonely race, we've got O'Fray, Maddock and Lean still battling it out. Now, again, I'm going to say that Lean's run through the final sector probably wasn't as good, because the guy in second usually jumps to the guy in first. But instead, you got the guy in second being jumped by the guy in third in that final straight. So, down the run down into 1. So, again, Lean strategically, he's got to be thinking about how he gets to the front of this pack for the final lap, Corey.
Very well might be, Alex, just sitting here planning out his moves to where he's going to take them. I mean, we did just see Kawabe-san try and go 3 for 1 with Savoski and Watt. And, it almost worked out for him. But, it's a different story when you're up here at the very front of the pack, because you're battling for the podium here as we're coming up to the end of lap 7 now. We got only a handful of laps to go here, and these guys are going to be starting to push the envelope here. You see now, Corey Lean looking for the move on Maddock. If he's smart, he'll try and box Maddock in there. And we're going to go 3 wide through the curve, almost touching. And we're going to have Maddock go in front of O'Fray and Corey Lean retaking the lead. This is where he's at his strongest, Alex, and I think he finally figured it out.
Yeah, looks like he got the good run that he needed. Double draft and got it done. Very close to contact there, and the little kink towards the first corner at that time round. And look, lean now. Oh, again, flirting with danger. You can just kiss the sand there, but cannot do much more than that before you get the slowdown. O'Fray taking a very wide entry line in there to try and maximise his exit speed. And looks like he has done that already. Right on the tailpipe this time of Matic on the exit there of Tosa up the hill into Piratella this time round. Oh, Matic almost thinking about taking a defensive line there just to make sure that O'Fray doesn't have a look. That time Lean, using all of the track and more, would have picked up the incident point out there. It's a long way out there, but once you're off the green stuff, expect to get it. This time round through Aqua Minerale. Again, Lean flirting with the track limits there. Almost picking up a slowdown for sure, Corey.
He's definitely getting very close to it. If he hasn't got one yet, Alex, we head into Varante Alta once more, and you can tell they're starting to get a little bit more aggressive with those curbs, Alex. Bit of a hop, skip, and a jump on landing. But you see Lane there trying to take the very defensive line, sticking as close to that inside entered white line as he could. And all the curb, got a little bit of a step out there as he hit the brakes coming into the Ravazza 1. Nice line through Ravazza 1 into Ravazza 2. You've got to be careful about how much curb you take in and out of there. And now you see him pulling towards the middle so he can try and straighten up this front stretch as much as he can. But Matic this time is going to try and take the lead back from Laney. He gets it done just before the start-finish line. And this is one of those tracks where you can have that side-by-side battle towards the start-finish line on the last lap. And it actually matter, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got it line astern back in safe fashion. As we jump back to that second pack, we've got Martin, Valero and Yamato. Martin leading them round this time. He'll be thinking about where he wants to position himself for the final lap, no doubt. Meanwhile, Vasco Sorowski and his teammate, Justin Watt, excuse me, tucked ahead of Gol Kawabe this time round. Again, this long snaking trail of skippies trying to fight for the remaining point scoring positions. Of course, we score all the way down to P12 here on a Sunday night. And these guys looking to maximise their chances as the teammates of Sorowski and Watt run as far away as they can. Meanwhile, jumping back up front, Matic continuing to lead lap 9 of 12 here. It'll be 3 to go when they cross the line. Any early money you're going to lay on who's going to win, Corey?
Well, with how close the racing is, I'm going to say it could be any one of these three, Alex. Corey Lane has been known to make mistakes that have ruined his races before. But, you know, it'll be the first time in a long time since we've had an AusNZ winner, so I'm just going to have to pull for Corey Lane on this one, Alex.
Oh, he's going to back the local boy. Well, yeah, look, I don't know. I haven't been convinced by his exits out of the final sector. And even when leading, if someone's 2/10 behind and they get the equal or better exit, the draft will get him home. It's not like half a second like it was in the old days, as we see the leading pack come through the final pair of Ravazzas for the tail end of lap 9 this time round. But you really need to be by the line 2/10 behind. So you can see he's just 2.5 now as the draft kicks in, and you watch, it'll be Matic who leads them at the tail end of this lap. So he was only 3/10 as he exited the corner, but he wouldn't have got the win if he was sitting in second there with that exit. Oh, Frey! Jeepers, he wanted second spot, didn't he? And Matic almost died a very quick death there with kissing the grass with the outside tyres, Corey.
That was definitely very close to being disaster there, Alex. Could have only been a matter of about 1 inch into it, as now Afraid looking for a move in Villeneuve. It's going to be the outside for the second half of it as he goes out very wide through the gravel. I think you said that there's going to be a slowdown out there if he hit it wrong, which very well could be. I'm surprised these guys are keeping it side by side going through Tosa though, but it looks like Corey Lean with a better exit out of Tosa, and now Matic going to figure out which one he's going to be behind. It looks like he's just going to fall in behind both of them as we head into Piratella. And what an interesting sequence of corners that was, Alex.
100% managing a slowdown. He's got to get it cleared by the exit of Aqua Minerale, does O'Fray. Watch if he pulls off to the right here. that was a remarkable move on the entrance into Villeneuve that time round with 3 laps to go. I don't know why he was pushing so hard to both get into second and then to push for the lead at Villeneuve that time round, and absolutely would have picked up a slowdown. So he's done tremendously well to hold that position. As he looking to defend, is he, down the hill and the run into the final two corners? No, he's looking to attack, if you don't mind. Really looking to mix it up is the red-faced racing driver of Julian O'Fray.
It's very interesting to watch this battle. Just watching what O'Fray does. I think a lot of this is to just try and put Corey Lean off on his corner entry there a little bit. But you can see with Corey Lean having to take that defensive line going through the first Ravazza, it definitely compromised his exit there. O'Fray going to the inside of the straight, which comes the outside right here, but he's going to get the lead back. And now Corey Lean trying to fight back with that little bit of a sniff of a draft that he got, but O'Fray leading the way with only 2 laps to go now, Alex. This is where the action is starting to heat up.
Absolutely. Similarly in the secondary pack, I tell you I was impressed with Nathan Wade, who's just still running that lonely race. He got into the 202s last lap, undrafted. Fantastic driving there, obviously in time trial mode, but we see now Valero, Martin and Yamato still battling it out. And we're looking through this pack here now. It's all getting shuffled in the final couple of laps now, as it is Yamato. Is it? No, it's Amadio who's fighting his way back. He's down 4 positions from where he qualified. I said he was one to watch. He got shunted early on. You can see the damage to his skippy telling that tale, but he has split Swarovski and Watt, and he is charging hard. And knowing how he races, having raced with it this week, he will be pushing hard and fast for the remaining lap and a half, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. But I got to say, I am really impressed with Justin Watt right now. He's come in as the 19th plated car. He's only got a 2.4k I rating, and he is up here trying to mix it up with the bottom half of the top 10. And he is up, 6 positions from where he started now in P11, and he is looking pretty strong as we're coming through the half of this circuit for the penultimate time, Alex. So, I reckon we could see more of Justin Watt in the future, and I reckon he's going to be a pretty damn decent driver.
Yeah, from memory, he's won at least one of the second splits this season, if not 2. Not easy to win 2 of those, let me tell you. As we jump back to our race leading pack here, we've got O'Fray leading it at the start of the final lap. Lean looking to make his mark. Are we going to go 3 wide? I think we might. O'Fray moving over to the left, but not quickly enough. Lean says, I'll have a bit of the grass if you don't mind. 3 wide into the first chicane. They're going to go. The side draft kicks in there. Absolutely 3 wide. O'Fray tucks it in behind. Gets it done. They've got it sorted. What about this second pack now? 3 wide as they cross the line, if you don't mind. This is where it gets interesting. Yamato leading him through. Martin backing out, but will still be side by side with Valero. Valero attacking Yamato on the exit. All right, what's going on back up front? They've got through Villeneuve okay. Lean still leading it. Lean's in the position I said he wanted to be. As we see this second pack, still Yamato defending from Valero. I think, yeah, he is. And he's got done on the outside by Martin as well. Martin will go 2 by 2 into Tosa this time round, looking to get what he can from it. Get the drive on exit, he does. Let's go back up to our front pack, side by side, if you don't mind, through Piratella this time round. Lean, still, look, he's licking his lips with the 2 side by side behind. Surely O'Fray's got to back out there through Aqua Minerale. Absolutely he does. Lean, we've been saying all night he hasn't been getting the run, but maybe he won't need it, Corey, as we see Maddock tucking behind Lean, defending into that final chicane.
We can only hope that Corey doesn't need that run, because these 2 fighting behind him is definitely a godsend into his eyes. It's very close action as they come through the Verante Alta, heading down to the Ravazza for the final time in this race. It's going to be a very close finish here. I'm not sure who it's going to be just yet, but I reckon it's going to be between Lean and Maddock, because I think O'Fray's too far back to try and make a move here into the Ravazza. And Maddock taking a lot of curb there in Ravazza 1, a lot more curb in Ravazza 2. And that's compromised his exit there, Alex. I think we're going to have an OzNZ winner, because Corey Lean is leading this race by a long margin, and I think he's done it.
Absolutely, Corey Lean crosses, and it's a photo for second, but O'Fray O'Fray just got the exit, and after all that, it was Maddock who couldn't quite get the exit out of the final chicane. Valero now looking to cross the line in fifth ahead of Martin. And Yamato, after his podium last week, could only... Oh, look at this string of skippies cross the line at the end there. Swarovski dropping back plenty, as did Justin White. They finished in the point scoring positions, but they were leading that pack for so long. Look at these skippies filing over the line at the end here. Just a couple left to go, Corey. That was really interesting to see how it was. In the end, it was Maddock who didn't get the exit, when all the time I thought it was Lean who would struggle. And there you go, though. He did what I thought he might have to do, which was lead him out from the final corner, and he got it done, Corey.
I think that was just a case of Matic trying to go a little bit too aggressive there in the Ravazzas. I thought I called it perfectly when I seen him taking all that curb, because I know that taking that much curb in those corners is definitely going to make you bounce a little bit, unsettle the car. And, it definitely looked like that was the way that it played out after they came out of their second Ravazza, and he just could not have the pace to keep up with Corioline. And, at the end of the day, Afray ended up taking him for second there at the line.
Yeah, that's right. As we see a few stragglers cross the line, Hurtay's one. Here comes Chastanerf on the tail end of his first outing at Sunday Night Lights. Not the way he would have liked to see things go. Mitchell Nichols now coming around and just leading Paul Wilson, who's up for his third race of SNL here tonight. And again, not the way the two ANZ drivers wanted to finish. But speaking of ANZ drivers finishing, why don't we take a look at our results this time round? As we have had our first ANZ winner for a while now, Corey Lean actually did what I thought he would have to do to win it, and he did it. He executed perfectly with leaving O'Fray and Maddock to fight over the scraps. Corey Lean taking out his first win of the season. Can't remember if he's won any others, if I'm honest, but certainly his first win this season. Julian O'Fray finishing second, and will no doubt bump his score up and potentially take lead of the championship with that result. George Maddock rounding out the podium. I don't know if we've seen George too often. I know we saw him last week. Hopefully we'll see him a bit more, because he certainly brings a lot to the racing here. Fourth tonight was Nathan Wade, who drove a very lowly race, but put down some really good times there and was catching the leaders with all that battling going on. But certainly, given the opportunity, we'll be right up there with him next time. Axel Valero with a great drive. The Iberian driver coming all the way up 9 positions, if you don't mind. The biggest mover in the field. And he's finished in the top 5. Braden Martin with another solid performance. The ANZ driver racing for Locked On iRacing, of course. The 7th place position, Takumi Yamato, finished in second last week. It only managed 7th here this week, the Japanese driver. Laura Samadio, the Italian, had to do a bit of a recovery drive and got it all the way back up to 8th. Tobias Ritt finishing in 9th. Dimitri Philippides finishing and rounding out the top 10. Justin Watt from ANZ in 11th. His teammate Vasco Swarovski, the ANZ driver, in 12th. And the final SNL point scoring position, Hiroshi Ueda from Japan, finishing 13th. After finishing third last week, Kawabe-san, Guy Kawabe, the Japanese driver, could only manage 14th after that incident with in the opening laps with Chastanerf. Christian Mansell in 15th. The ANZ driver, Craig Biley, similarly in 16th. Alex Hurte from Iberia in 17th. James Chastanerf, the aforementioned ANZ driver, on his debut, down in 18th. 19th position tonight was ANZ's Mitchell Nichols and ANZ's Paul Wilson, rounding out the full field, the full grid of 20 positions, Corey.
Yeah, and what an interesting race that was, Alex. I mean, it wasn't quite what we were expecting as far as, the racing goes, as far as, the rest of the week of racing has been pretty tight racing throughout most of these splits. But the pockets of excitement came out, and they were definitely pretty exciting when the guys got down to it. And what an incredible finish there, having our first Z winner in such a long time. I think it was Bathurst, like 2 or 3 seasons ago, was our last Z winner there, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. And great breakthrough in this season for Corey Lane. Did a fantastic job strategically and managed to make his strengths enough to get him across the line. Now, we've got second place getter here tonight, Mr. Julian O'Fray. Julian, Look, not the big pack racing that we've come to see here this week, but certainly you were right in it up to your eyeballs here tonight. How was the racing out there?
Oh, the racing was in the first part of the race a bit boring, but after the ghost end of straight line, it was more intense and more interesting. I decided to battle a bit to to transform the race into a more intense race.
Yeah, absolutely. It really looked like you made a choice in the last 3 laps or so to start pushing the pace, seeing if you could disrupt the other drivers in the front pack. I said throughout I didn't think Corey Lean had the pace out of the final corner to overtake by the line, and he'd have to lead, and that's the way it went in the end. You were sitting there in third, of course. You can't double draft for the win, but had you resigned yourself to P2 at that stage?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If more smart strategy, certainly I could win, but it was too boring. I just want to have fun for this one, and I didn't. Um, I don't know what to say. I don't do smart things. That's all.
But part of the racing is having fun with it as well, and hopefully,
Yeah, 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 sure.
yeah, and I think that might even put you close to, if not on the top of the championship points as well. So having fun and getting some good points is always a good night out. So Julian, thank you once again for joining us. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
I want to thank you, and I hope you enjoy the spectacle,
It
if
was a
this is the correct word.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit of fun, mate. It was good fun out there as always at a great track. So thank you for joining us, Julie, and hopefully we'll see you again in the remaining weeks of the season. We've got a couple left, Nürburgring GP for the first time, which I'm looking forward to, and hopefully the racing will be just as good there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it can be a good track. Maybe a bit too much draft because there is a pretty big straight line, but we will see.
Absolutely. All right, Julian, thank you for joining us, and we'll hope to see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye bye.
There you go, Corey, Mr. Julian O'Fray, who's become quite a regular with a bit of a chat after the race, which is good to see. I'm glad to see he enjoyed his racing out there. And you could see, at one point I was really surprised that he upped the pace and started battling, particularly when he went into Villeneuve. I think it was the third last lap. I thought, oh, jeepers. And he almost picked up a slowdown as well. But he was just trying to make things interesting for himself and the viewers at home by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's definitely what it sounds like. And enjoyment for the drivers is probably one of the big things that keeps the drivers coming out each and every single week. And Afray, I've never really heard of Afray getting bored unless he was, all by himself. So it's a bit of a surprise to hear that coming from him here. But I'm glad that he put that little bit of extra spice in there with three to go because that was definitely the catalyst that started that battling up towards the front of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100%. All right, mate. That looks like about it for our interviews tonight. Why don't you let the folks know what you got ongoing this week?
We've been absolutely enjoying the GTA RP stuff that I've been doing over on my channel, and we're continuing to do so. A couple of new characters that are joining the fray with that, which is always a little bit of cheeky fun. On Wednesday, we are going to be going to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the penultimate round of the Output Racing League Season 2 here for 2021, which is always going to be a little bit of fun. You can catch that over at the Aussie Sim Commentator channel, twitch.tv/Aussie_Sim_commentator. And that will be on Wednesday at about 11:20 Western time. So that's about 1:20 in the afternoon for poor old Alex here. Uh, on Tuesday, the Night Owl Racing League is going to Limaland for the Dirt Street Stock Series that I'm doing. and that's going to be a little bit of death because it's Limaland. And then we're going to Daytona for NIS on Friday, which is always a fantastic spectacle and definitely one to watch. And it's all back here again with you next week, Alex. As what track are we going to? I think we're going to Nürburgring next week, which will be very exciting. The GP layout for the first time in I don't know how long.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it myself as well. But folks, that might do us. Everything tops will be on your screen in a minute. But don't forget to check out the SNL Wrap each week on the Locked On iRacing podcast. Wilco and Braden, who was in the field here tonight, do a great job covering all the local iRacing action news and views. But everything